Alright, here's a tutorial on using the DrOcto Rex player in Reason 5. I'm going to show you some of the variety of techniques for programming it and copying your patterns to the sequencer, and then also show you some of the ways to use the Rex player for the Project 3 that we're doing right now. I'm going to right click on the mixer and say Create DrOcto Rex. So I want to go to the file browser here, go to Drums, Electronic Drums, this first Bayer Lakebusch, and choose this first series of loops. And you'll see that, in fact, 7 loops are loaded. To audition the loops, you just simply use the Run button. And you can click on each of the loops, and they'll change in real time. I want to show you how you edit loops. You use the disclosure triangle here. If I say Select Slice via MIDI, I can see the slices play when I hit Run. Select Slice via MIDI also lets you play the various slices on your keyboard. I'm playing C0 on my keyboard, and that's this loop. C sharp, D, D sharp, E. There's a lot of sound design you can do. I'm just going to show you some quick things here. First of all, if I just hit Run on the loop player, go and grab the filter. You can do the classic filter sweep. Drum breaks. Okay, to the concept then of getting these loops into the sequencer for building your song, there's really 3 different ways that you can do it. One easy way is to just use the copy loop to track feature here. So it will copy loop 1 to the sequencer between my left and right locators, very similar to what we did in Redrum. That copies loop 1 to the sequencer. So turn off enable loop playback. I'm going to delete these 2 clips and show you technique number 2. If you look at this area here, trigger next loop, you can use your keyboard to trigger the loops to play in real time. You use the keys E0 through B0 on your keyboard to trigger the loops, and you use E flat 0 to stop the loops. Enable loop playback to get this feature to work. Leave it in bar mode. I just hit E0 and that starts that loop. F plays loop 2, F sharp is here, right? Just chromatically up the keyboard. And E flat stops. You can record that into the sequencer. Hit record. When you click on these, you get a drop down arrow and you can actually change that. If I wanted loop 7 there and loop 5 there. So that's pretty creative. This is technique number 3 to get your loops into the sequencer. To use this technique, you have to create a pattern lane and get your pencil tool, either W on your keyboard or selecting it here. And notice then that you have the pattern dialog coming up over here to the right. You can use this for Redrum, banks A, B, C, or D. And in this case, we're going to use pattern loop 1 through 8 for the Dr. Rex. Okay, so with pattern 1 selected, you go to the pattern select, and you just draw, and that just put in pattern 1. I'll change it to now to pattern 2. And now I have pattern 2. I can stretch pattern 4 out. I can option drag pattern 2. So you can get really creative with this.